trying to find a better moral example, and that is Jesus Christ.
But is there one off the top of your head you know of?
I'm talking about things with like the shooting stars thing, like with like asteroids are meant to shoot down jinn or something like that.
That's not.
I heard that.
No, that's not Quran, but it's not a contradiction.
Yeah.
What's the problem with this?
It's not a contradiction. It's nothing.
No, what's the concern about the...
No, I'm just talking about the scientific like contradictions and stuff in the Quran. I was asking questions about, like for example, I asked him about where semen is made between like the backbone and whatever. Just asking about this because I feel like there's a few scientific like contradictions and stuff like that.
Okay.
Which
So
I don't know
are
about.
you speaking from the Muslim perspective that you want to clarify?
No, I'm a Christian.
You're a Christian. Okay, no problem. Well, my name is Mansur. What's your name?
Sydney. I know about
Sydney.
you. I know
Sydney.
about
That's
you.
fine. No, we can. You see, look, Speaker's Corner. Speaker's Corner is where we can exchange information so that we learn from each other. And if there are issues like this, we can clarify them as best as we can. So let's start with the issues of semen production, as you said. So remind me exactly what is your understanding that the Quran is saying, and what is the problem? Because first we need to understand what the Quran is saying first, link that with our scientific knowledge of today, and then see whether they are in contradiction or actually they are mutually, something that's reconcilable. Yeah, go ahead.
So what I'm saying is it says something about semen being produced in between the backbone. I can't remember exactly where, but
I can help you with that,
not,
from what you remember.
But that's not where it actually is created. Like, that's where it's got it wrong. Like in science, modern science, we know that's not where semen is produced. So that's a clear contradiction in the Quran and science and stuff. That's what I'm saying.
What I will do is I will show you the Quranic ayah in English translation, of course, for you to read and help you to remember what it is. But I can tell you from the outset, it doesn't talk about semen production at all. That's one thing. So if this was your understanding of the verse of the Quran, ayah of the Quran, then we need to revisit this Quranic ayah and understand what it's saying. I can bring it up from my phone. Is that okay? You can put that in the back. That's fine.
I'm not here for much longer though. So.
No, look.
Just this question.
We want to just clarify some of the issues people may have, and this seems to be quite a common one actually. So let's go through it. Okay. This is in this chapter here. Surah number 86. And from verse or ayah 5 onwards. But of course we can talk about from the beginning and a bit later on. So now let man think from what he is created. He is created from a drop emitted, proceeding from between the backbone and the ribs. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Surely God, Allah is able to bring him back to life. So here, from what you remember, what you understand is this is talking about a gushing fluid. Okay? So you can get any translation that you feel, but it's the same thing. Like this is Muhsin Khan is created from a water gushing forth. So he's talking about this reproductive fluid. Okay? And then it talks about something proceeds from between the backbone and the ribs. So is it talking about proceeding of something or origination or production of something? Let's clarify that one first.
It's proceeding through there.
Yeah, so it doesn't talk about how things are produced, where things are produced.
So in the Arabic, does it actually talk about, like, does the word actually translate properly to proceeding, or is there other types of words?
Kharaja, yakhruju, to draw forth, to come out, to exit. That's why khuruj, you'll see it's an exit, yeah? So this is the word kharaja. So it comes out from, in this between. So he's talking about that this, whatever that is, which I will explain to you very briefly, from in between these two places, okay? Now, what if I told you this doesn't talk about the proceeding is referring to the human being. The human being that comes in between these two areas that is mentioned. Firstly, when it talks about in between two places, in between, we need to understand what is exactly one in between means. If I say in between the sun and in between the sun and the earth, which planet do you have in mind?
Between the sun and the earth, like Venus and those. Mercury. Yeah, Mercury, Venus.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you going to draw a line between the 2 points, sun and the earth, and draw something in the middle? Of course not. Right. If I say in between A and Z or Z, what letter of the alphabet comes to your mind?
Wait, say that again.
Between A and Z.
Like Y or something, just anything.
Any one of those letters, right? Right. So in between doesn't necessarily mean in the middle.
Yeah.
That's what we need to understand first of all. So between A and Z or A and Z, it could be from B to all the way to Y, right? Any of this. So in Arabic, min bayna shay'ain refers to something like this. And we know from the statement of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he talks about how if a believer can guarantee what is in between his two lips and between his two legs, he guarantees paradise. He guarantees paradise. Now, what is in between two lips? We talk about the tongue. So it's talking about if someone can control their speech and speak properly, right? And in between the two legs, right? Could be anything in between. But we know it talks about the private organs. Yep. So you can understand what is in between doesn't necessarily mean this.
You
Right.
answered my question. That's what I wanted.
Right. So this verse or this chapter talks about let man think and reflect or see. فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ مِمَّا خُلِقَ. Have not man seen what he's created from? So it's addressing the human being. Where have you been created from? So then it talks about one thing. He's created from a gushing fluid, self-emitting. And we know that the seminal fluid, which contains the human sperm, the sperm is... it's all right, thank you very much. You are actually... My friend.
In Arabic, it means smile.
Good, but we're having a conversation in which we're trying to focus.
No, I'm not taking it serious. You must be mad
But-
to
but-
take this guy serious.
I'm listening to what he has to say. I don't agree with
young
everything
man,
he
don't
says.
agree with him, of course not. But
You're on the wrong day to be happy, right? Go somewhere else to be happy.
you know how long I know this guy? At least 30 years. He hasn't changed.
Yes.
Same speech.
That's how consistent
same,
I am.
You know,
Alhamdulillah.
same when he was really young man.
When we talk about consistency
Same
of
thing.
intellectual arguments,
He hasn't changed.
reason,
I did.
and intellectual discussion, I hope I haven't
Allah,
changed.
you haven't changed.
Right, because this is what we hope. People need to be consistent in their truthfulness, in their uprightness,
You know,
in their
whatever
righteousness.
you're gonna
Do you
believe
agree?
in your life, you have to have evidence and proof.
This guy.
Don't believe in stories.
Alright.
And you have anything you want to believe, you need to have a proof, evidence, your hand. You know, these people, they only have faith. Yes, brother. Yeah, brother.
Okay, yeah, go on.
I mean, if you felt that someone is undermining your intellect and confidence, I do apologize on his behalf. Some people think just because you're young, you're
You're a terrorist.
not intelligent as they are. But anyway, so continue.
He touched me already.
So,
He terrorist me.
number 4, ayah number 5 talks about let man think from his created from. Created from, so this talk about creation. Khuliqa, created from a gushing fluid. So in Arabic, the word is used ma. Ma is also used to refer to, in general, the reproductive fluid, but in which contains the sperm. What is interesting, I'm sure if you have studied science at school, that the sperm has a tail. And it wiggles that term to travel by itself. So it's a self-propellant, self-directing, moving. It's something that moves by itself, propelled by itself. The word that is used here, min ma'in dafiq. In Arabic construction, this is something that people can, reflect on. In normal Arabic, it should have said ma'in madfuq, but it says dafiq, means someone who himself does the job, right? That means that sperm or the reproductive fluid containing the sperm is itself propelling to move forward. That is something astonishing because we didn't know about the anatomy and physiology of a sperm, that it contains a tail, that it's propelling itself to drive. That's one thing to be very, amazed about and reflect on. Secondly, it talks about then يخرج, and it proceeds from in between these two places. Now, either it refers to that sperm or the reproductive fluid proceeds from in between the backbone and the ribs, or the noun that was earlier on about human being. So either the human proceeds from it, or the reproductive fluid containing the sperm or the semen that proceeds from it. If you look at the context tells you even later on, surely God is able to bring him back. It's not talking about the reproductive fluid, it's talking about the human being. The day when all the secret will be examined, then will man have no power. He, the pronoun here, so you will see the pronouns that are mentioned subsequently, all referring to the human being. So contextually, we know this refers to, more appropriately, to the human being. Now, does the human being proceed in between the backbone and the ribs? And we know that the human being does. At what point? During pregnancy and delivery. When the baby is born in the womb of the mother, it's actually exactly in between the backbone and the ribs here. And the baby then proceeds from it. So, in this light, linguistically and contextually, you see this verse has nothing to do with a scientific error or a contradiction.
Okay, well, you answer my question.
Thank you. Any others that you have in mind?
No, I'm freezing cold.
All right. Do you want my coat? Take my coat.
I'm freezing the whole time. I'm shaking.
Why don't you wear my coat, and then if you have any other question to ask.
No. It's
okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
Maybe next time I come back to
That's
the
fine.
talk,
I appreciate speaking to you, and if that helps you to clarify that actually sometimes we need to go into the language itself, look into the context, look into the proper understanding of science, because many people, just to finish this up, many people think that sperm comes from the testicles during the human coitus or ejaculation. Actually, it doesn't come from it. This is where it's produced. It travels along the seminal vesicles, the vas deferens. It's stored along there. And it's only from the vas deferens and the ampulla, that's where it emanates during coitus act. People don't even know the science, and yet they start questioning about the verses in the Quran. Do you have a copy of the Quran at home?
Yes, I do.
You do?
I do.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Please read, reflect, and if you have any questions about, look. Do you know what we believe about Christ?
Are we going to go there now?
No,
It's gonna be
another
a
time,
hour
because
discussion.
you're feeling cold. But anyway, one point I want to, before you go, to leave you with this, that we should worship none but the one and only true Creator.
I know you guys' position on that.
Do you agree? Even you as a Christian, you should really believe that the only one worthy of your worship is none but the God one and only. Do you agree? Exactly. So that's why we want to really bring ourselves to the understanding that who is this one and only God? And how do we worship this God unless through the prophets and messenger? And Prophet Muhammad, we believe, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is the final messenger through which we can reach this worshiping of God. Okay? Take care, my friend. Okay? Perhaps we can talk again another time. Thank you.